So my mother was killed here. Our daughter's framed as crazy, and they locked up in the psych ward. Bellevue, May 20, 2015. It's been 10 years already. I've been trying to get a lawyer the whole 10 years. They would mock me, wouldn't help me. You know, to say your mother's old enough to die. I can't even tell she's crazy. And I'm like, definitely she's not crazy. I'm a witness that she's not crazy. You know, she was out of cell phone with her at the hospital. She was calling all her friends. She had friends that she went to college here in America. She was calling her friends in Nigeria. She can subpoena all these people. And the only thing was that our daughter was like badgering her. So she said she'd rather go back to Nigeria to have a heart surgery. And the daughter said they should detain her and she wouldn't be allowed, you know, to travel. You know, she was like, she doesn't want to stay with her daughters anymore because the police took her home. Me and my mother's almost staying out. And she went to live with the daughters. One of them was poisoning her food, giving her like car and fish fluid, you know, in her food, putting, you know, and it was causing her bloody diarrhea and causing her heart to congest. And so she came back to New York from Pennsylvania, you know, where the daughter Bolani was poisoned, and the other daughter Flora also was very abusive to her. That's Flora, the husband that was trying to punch my mother, who was part of the U.S. military. So my mother left Pennsylvania to come here. And then she didn't know who told the daughters what hospital she was in, because my mother didn't tell them what hospital, and the daughters showed up days later in the hospital, and they were nagging her. So I'm here by Cardinal Plaza and Clinton Street. The Brooklyn Federal Court is across the street. You know, so anywhere I go, they, you know, calling the police on me everywhere. The janitors don't let me use the bathroom. You know, so when I came into the phone charger, there was this guy sitting on the floor. I was kind of suspicious. You know, I was like, I hope I don't get in trouble. A guy sitting on the floor, you know, it's a white guy, or it tells me it's a female. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to misgender. You know, so that was the only suspicious thing was she was sitting on the floor. You know, I was like, you know, I need to charge my phone because, you know, I always have to have a full phone charge. You know, and that was the only thing. And then I was on Instagram, and there's this Nigerian guy has his girlfriend or his wife who's Black American in Chicago. So, and they were, it was like they were making fun of my dead mother, I don't know. Because he was saying his girlfriend was telling him, this is your last meal. And his girlfriend sounds like my mother's daughter, Bolali. She was born in America, she speaks like a Black American. You know, and this lady, my mother sounds like the guy, the Nigerian guy, she speaks Nigerian English. So the Black American female was given, her name is Jayla, you know, and she was giving Muiz food. I said, this is your last meal. So the Nigerian guy was sounding like my mother, while the Black American lady was sounding like my sister, Bolali. And you know, and my mother would have that kind of reaction also. That Bolali, I told her this is your last meal. And I was saying, I was saying his stomach. My mother was saying, when that Bolali gave her food, and since then her stomach was paining her, she was having bloody diarrhea, and she was having congestion in her heart. So that Nigerian guy was like almost depicting my mother, her voice and everything. And he had the hair bonnet. My mother also, she's feminine. And she would wear that, she would wear her hair bonnet. You know, and it was acting like my mother, the Black American lady was acting like my sister, Bolali. You know, so I thought and I really found it funny. It's been 10 years old that my mother's been killed. You know, normally I would have been angry and, you know, and would have protested, but I was like, you know what, I guess I'm being worn out. So I was actually laughing. And then the police pulled up, you know, I was like, you know, and I heard her talking to the police, you know, and I didn't really hear what they were saying, because I had my earphone on, but I was like, you know, anything that involves the police in America, you know, I got to pay attention. So I took my earphone off. So I was like, police officer, what's the problem? He said, somebody called, so many people actually, saying that you have too many stuff and that you guys need to go. I was like, no. And I was like, I'm charging my phone and I'm on Instagram. I'm getting educated on Instagram. And the Indian lady was laughing. You're getting educated on Instagram. I was like, about talking to herself, you know, should we call the ambulance for this one? You know, I was like, excuse me, I have right to education in America. I was like, okay, whatever. You know, just charge your phone and leave when you're done charging your phone. I said, you can't tie me, you know. And I'm so surprised that she doesn't want to file a police report either. So I don't know if I'm being set up, but everywhere I go, they call the police on me. And I don't want to be killed for fun. I criticize Eric Adams. I criticize the president, Trump. I used to go to his hotel in Atlantic City like 10 years ago, 2011. And they kicked me out of his hotel also. I was a paying customer. I've been trying to sue him for the past 10 years now. And regarding Black Americans, he was going to be helping me with any court case I need to file. He would go to court with me. And the person I took him there. I've been under FBI surveillance also. Because when my mother brought me from Nigeria, I was a kid. And they arrested me at JFK Airport 2000, said there was something wrong with my visa. Said, you know, my mother wasn't supposed to bring me because our green card doesn't cover children. So my mother was like, you know, under international law, you can't separate a mother and a child. You know, and they arrested me, did my fingerprint, just sent it to the FBI. So the this FBI is very corrupt. There's a lady called Mindy, Mindy. That's the spelling. That's the initial spelling of her name. I think some digits after that. I don't remember the full name. And she was like, she's been arrested also, and the FBI are corrupt. That they set people up. So I've been under the FBI surveillance. And the one thing I know is a black American that said it was going to help me, immediately the police when I killed them. As soon as it was going to help him on 2014, close to my birthday, July 8th, 2014. And and now they're claiming, and my mother said her daughters also was part of the gang. The police had just taken my home then. So my mother, me and my mother used to live on Staten Island. So my mother went to live in Pennsylvania with her daughters. And she said her daughters were trying to kill her. The one was Flora, had a husband that was a black American US soldier. And that one would try to punch my mother. My mother had a heart disease. So my mother said, that always scared her because he always tries to punch her. So my mother fled from that Flora to go stay with Bolali. And she said that Bolali also, she sounds like a black American. And she sounds like the jailer that is married, is the girlfriend of another Instagram user, Louise. So, my mother said, before she died, she was telling me that Bolali gave her food, and the food she believed was poison, because the food tasted funny and was making her stomach hurt. She was having bloody diarrhea, and then heart started congestion. That's why she ran back to New York, because that Bolali has been living in Pennsylvania for so long. And she thought my mother thought she'd be saved, like whatever connection she has in Pennsylvania, then we're trying to kill my mother for inheritance money, for inheritance scam, or life insurance policy. She thought, coming to New York will break that kind of, gang affiliation, because the gang may not be powerful in New York. And to my mother's shock, she was in the hospital in New York for like 2 or 3 days. The daughter showed up. So I heard that this FBI, they're everywhere. They're all over America. So my mother was like saying, how did the daughter know where all hospital she was in? Because she didn't tell the daughter what hospital. And he said the daughter told the doctor to lock my mother up. And the doctor complied to go and lock her up in the psych ward. So my mother was refusing to have surgery in the hospital, because she was like, she doesn't want to go back to Pennsylvania to live with her daughters, and said her home was taken by the police here in New York. So she said she'd rather go back to Nigeria to do the surgery, but she first want to go to Israel to pray, because our first husband went to do surgery in England and died in the hospital. So my mother's been very worried about doing surgery, and she's lost a number of friends that died in the hospital. My mother works in the hospital also, so she's like, and she says she didn't like the vibe in that hospital. That as soon as her daughters came, they were mistreated in the hospital, and she didn't know what kind of connection her daughter has. But only it to be influencing the hospital, to be mistreating my mother, and my other sister Flora was telling the hospital to lock my mother. So they were just trying to kill my mother early, because me and my mother were suing the police, and my mother had called the NYPD terrorists. She went on WB11 and said that they took her home, they terrorized us. So one of Trump's friends, his name is Bernard Carrick. He was the former commissioner of NYPD, and it was at the time my mother called the NYPD terrorists, it was the Homeland Security chief. So I think he must have heard about it, and since then my mother said she was getting followed. A black American that was following me was getting followed, and somebody went, and some police or someone took him to the gunner. I said the police were laughing. When they killed him, I searched for where I just went to the gunner. So I want to know who was calling the police on me, because they'll call the police on me everywhere I go. If I try to use the bathroom in this library, they'll come and knock at the door, this police officer. So we just want to confirm you're a real woman. So somebody told us, you don't look like a real woman. I'm like, you're not supposed to gender police me. They're lesbians that look masculine and use the women's bathroom also. I said they'll be harassing me, throw me out of every bathroom. So harassment and making a false police report, that's a crime. And to tell me I can't use the internet, yeah, that's a crime also. And the police won't give me a police report. And they quickly, and they were just antagonizing me. I said that's the best way to kill somebody. And they know definitely my mother's been killed, my father's been killed, and nobody will fight for me. So it's like they believe. So that's an attempted murder. And they say if nobody will fight for you in America, forget it. The police will kill you and get away with it.